Good morning, everyone. It's Friday morning, and just gonna do some Virtua Fighter before I do some of my work. But always good times. So let's hope everyone's doing really well today. And a lot of great news, right? Sega has started to give details about their big end of the year championship. Or at least they're saying that the first qualifier for North America is going to be a combo breaker, which is going to be May 24th, 23rd, 24th, 25th, I believe. And with that news, we also have some players saying they're going to go. Chanchai from Japan is planning to go, and so they've applied for the visa. I think that's going to be amazing if they go. They're one of the most fun people in the community. They're really, really fun. They're also one of the strongest players in the world. They're one of the strongest jackies in the world. Arguably the most aggressive, and they are part of the defending champion team for Beat Tribe Cup. In 2023, Team Villains, Homestay Akira, led by, it's an all-star team with Homestay Akira and Chanchai. And Chanchai totally pulled a lot of weight in that tournament. They took it. They won Beat Tribe Cup. So I believe they're the defending champions this year when at EVO Japan. They're going to have Beat Tribe Cup at EVO Japan. So that said, Chanchai looks like they're planning on going to Combo Breaker unless they can't get approval. And I've told a member of the VF players in Chicago to give a good welcome to Chanchai, take them out. Should be a lot of fun. And Chanchai is definitely hospitable. They really, in Japan, they're really, really wonderful as a host for foreign players. So we should give them the same courtesy for sure. It's also going to be a lot of fun. Alright, so this morning we're going to do a bit. Also, tomorrow's Saturday, the 15th, and tomorrow Rise is going to have their second Virtua Fighter 5 REVO tournament. A month ago they had their first one. It was a pretty eventful event. A lot of stuff happened during that event. So tomorrow there will be another tournament. And so I want to give a shout out to them. So check out Rise Gaming. If you follow Griffey Bones, you could kind of follow them towards information about tomorrow's tournament. So let's see here. This is our current record for what it is. Our win streak ended yesterday, so we stopped at 40. And congratulations, Brody Man was the person who got that win or got that game. And then it was a lot of fun running into Brody Man again. It's been a while. They're pretty active actually. So alright, let's do it. Again, I hope everyone's doing really well this morning. I think right now Numbers is also streaming, so I think he's always awesome to watch and follow. Alright, I wish these settings would save between, like if I just jump back into training or into ranked training, it would just automatically go there. Maybe in the future I'll do that. I'm expecting a lot of good features in future. Alright, I threw too early there, I input it too early. That's 8. Okay, go with throw, there we go. It's okay if they throw escape as long as you did the throw. Alright, let's see who our first matchup is. Hope everyone can hear the audio pretty well. Alright, it looks like we've got a Korean L Blaze, boy. And they're at level 20 with 59 matches, they're probably really good. This is good. That was not intended. Alright. Good. They're a good player. I cannot read Korean, but I do have Korean friends that I enjoy. I really just screwed my head. going for this throw is a little too desperate. That's kind of why I went ahead and fought right there. It's not the first time that's happened. Alright, good first game. I like our connection. Our connection's great. I tend to have a good connection with Korea, at least from some history. Let's see, I hope that continues, but the connection was quite good. The connection was very good. I didn't even see what the rollback setting was. Hey, good to see you, Aztec. So good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Aztec, I hope you're going to go to Combo Breaker. I have a sense of how this player plays. Okay, they stayed on down. So even though I escaped down last time, they stayed on down. Alright. So they do have some tendencies just like I do. And so it's good. Let's try this opening. Good. We're doing our zone offense. Now, they keep falling for this one, so this is an interesting one. And now, they were really surprised with that. They might have a down evade habit. It might not be that they're specifically targeting an evade, it looks like they're just evading down. And that would be a problem. That would be a problem for them. That's unfortunate. Alright, we'll make sure they're out. So, good game, my friend. Really nice all plays. I have to rewatch it, but I think they tended to evade down. One of the downsides was when they were in a position for, I think because they evaded too much on when they were in Nitaku, so I got a lot of 8K wins against them. So against Leon, they should be evading to Leon's backside. That would totally reduce that, right? Alright, who do we got? We got a green bar here. Let's see who we got. Well, we hope it's a green bar. Sometimes it changes, right? Maybe they felt it would be less. But good to see you, 4i. Good to see you, Aztec. And again, I hope you guys are doing really, really well. Alright, Mr. Karate, let's do it. Is this the person that's King of Fighters player? But they're on Team Tekken. Okay, interesting using K. Be very careful, we don't want to be in win-up position, especially if we're still assessing their full capabilities here. So right now, they're attacking too much. They don't use the defense as much, they're trying to win by offense, right? And that makes a lot of sense for a lot of players that are not as used to Virtua Fighter. Now, everyone knows how defense is good, but the problem is when you're used to a lot of other games, you tend to think that defense means moving away, right? And moving away is one defensive option, but in Virtua Fighter, it is separated from guard because you cannot guard cancel backdash. So that makes backdashing more risky. Backdashing is still good, it's just more risky, and you're not going to automatically defend when you move away. On the contrary, in Virtua Fighter, you guard by hitting the guard button, and you can totally cancel forward dashes with it. So in this game, you can totally move forward while defending, right? And that's pretty good, because you can guard for a frame if you wanted to. Or 2 frames, really, technically. Right. Now, using this sequence, it seems like it's a good zoning sequence, but I know what it entails, so all I have to do is just attack within it when I see it. Because they're attacking, they are technically buffering, so I can use evade if I sense that they're buffering, because they're always attacking. If they varied their pace up a bit, that would say if they chose to. But all I have to do is just make sure when I have advantage, I stick an attack out there and it's probably going to hit them. I'm just gonna stick an elbow. Here's an elbow. 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 Good. They defended. And then now we go in for it. So then now I kind of go, okay, now I've got you to finally defend and I throw. Now this is, I don't want to intentionally frustrate them, but that is kind of how it works. It works by, it's not that you're being random. It's that you're trying to really think, what are they going to do? And I don't have to read so hard. It just has to be simply, do I think they're going to attack or do I think they're going to defend? Right? So now he's defending, so I can probably move up. That was nice. So he used his spacing to start attacking, which is a very common thing to do in a lot of fighting games. Is you're like, okay, they get within range, now I strike. That's much better than just always attacking. So that was good, right? He's like, yeah, you're not going to dash into me. So not bad at all. Then we just add that to the pile of things we think they're likely to do.
Hey, good morning, Akira. Hope you're doing really well.
The streaming is echoing. Good to know. Good to know that. Let's get this out of here. Let's fix that right away. So that's probably because my camera's still... Let me turn off one of the audio sources. Okay, this should be a lot better. This was because my microphone, my main microphone was not working before. Like USB power, so the USB bus was limited on power draw, and I need to get a new card or something, because I hate having this issue. I hate having one USB device go down and not sure which one it is. So it was like my microphone, and so I switched my webcam the last time I'd stream to be my mic source, and I forgot to turn that off. So is this a lot better? Excellent. Okay, thanks for the heads up. When you guys give me the heads up, totally helps me a lot. Sometimes monitor I can catch it, sometimes I don't because I turned my mic off, so I'm just looking at the mic audio. But I should have checked at both my mixer settings and also my mic. So thanks a lot. Big oversight on my part, but you guys were a team and you helped me out. I appreciate it. So yeah, also let's watch how Solari's playing. Solari has been very strong, and I do think, you know, in the past I would say it was the activity level that would make Solari more predictable, right? And right now, this is good. Alright, this is good. Alright. And that was a sharper read on that they're not going to attack, so that was good. Alright, good stuff, Solari. Yeah, I definitely run into that myself, Akai, for me, forgetting to unmute the mic and stuff like that. We're all learning this together. 1 second, I'm gonna clear my throat. All right, cleared my throat. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, like I said before, I kind of wish that we would have the settings. There we go. Let me move this one to the top. Let's see who we got. Neo Gua, awesome. Hello, Neo Gua. Let's do this.
Round one. Ready, go!
Alright. We went with an opening mid to see how they would respond. Okay. So they did not expect the low punch into counter hits. It's hard to see on rollback, by the way. On our 2-frame setting, this is kind of hard. Like this person, it would probably be better for them if they had set to 4 frames or even 3 frames. But I think if you can see how this rollback keeps hitting 2 and 4, like 3 and 4, 4 frames would have been better, right? We're getting a lot of rollback. That's why it's noisy. But I have mine set to 5 for if they had set it to 5, we would be playing on 5. Alright, let's watch how they play. So I'm just going to elbow. Technically, that was minus 13. It was punishable by KK. Alright, good stuff. Good stuff. Alright. So I avoided the throw here by doing... I ECD'd, they threw late, and so I was able to low punch interrupt. Very nice. I like that. Very nice. I like the choice to do 3-3P right there. Very nice. Okay. So they're not defending after they hit that. That was an interesting rollback. All right, very nice, very nice. Okay, I was a bit rough against them here. But there's some good stuff, but the problem is the defense, right? I don't know if they're not seeing it because of their rollback setting, but because right now they're not defending at these spots, but it's hard to know because with rollback, sometimes you don't know that you just got hit by low punch. So low punch uppercut is really strong in like when rollback gets noisy like this, because you don't even, it's hard to see this low punch here. And I'm not trying to be cheap. This is just standard way of playing. So if you defend just a little longer, you will be, if you suspect, right? Like there, my movement was me extending my defense. I was like, I don't know if I accidentally got hit here, so I'm gonna extend my defense. I'm gonna crouch dash, and if I see animation frames that looks like they're gonna be like a low, then I'll guard low, right? So that's what I did, right? This is the power of using something like crouch dash to defend. Crouch dash, you can still guard. Crouch dash, you can still attack. All right, so this was late, and right now this uppercut's gonna get them because of their pacing. Right. So right now I'm playing the real basic boxing is strong. Right, and then here we block the low punch and we attack back with a low punch, even though elbow is what I prefer, but I felt like my hands were in a position where low punch felt better. See, here it was good. That was a rollback where I'm not playing with audio, so I don't hear it, but I can tell looking at it that it did the rollback. Like, okay, it looks like it's a hit, but it cut off, so it must have been a guard. Must have been a guard. Good, good. All right. See, they're playing much sharper here, and now I can count on them doing that. Now they got desperate to using. They got desperate and started using reversals. Here's the problem with using reversals, right? Low punch mid is very strong, and so you got to target that habit specifically. Because Aoi gets conditioned from low attack. So like when you fight Aoi, something like this is very normal and it's very strong, right? And the downside to using elbow against Aoi is that mid reversal is just really good. So that's why low punch tends to work better against Aoi, but you got to be very careful. Unless if the Aoi play is targeting it, you're in trouble. If they 4K when you're doing a Bari, you don't want to Abari with it really. I think the main thing is trying to be active without going too much Abari when you fight against Aoi. It's very strong. Hey Aztec, Texas Showdown is going to be awesome. I'm glad that you're going to be there. It's going to be a really good tournament. The players have been leveling up. You're a player that's got quite very good skill as well. So I think that's going to be an exciting tournament. But yeah, I'm happy to see you back in the VF, get that grind on. You're very strong and skilled, so I'm looking forward to your performance at Texas Showdown. Springlog says, nice to hear your in-match commentary. My pleasure, my pleasure. I hope my opponents don't mind. It is what I tend to do because I really want to help other people understand what's going on in Virtua Fighter. I love this game. I love competing in this game, I do. But I really love it when other people can love the game too and kind of understand what's going on. And I figure by doing that, more people can appreciate Virtua Fighter. All right, ADA, I have no idea what they're like. They are at level 25. They're Go. They don't want to give me other information, so we're going to base how we fight based on how things go in the match. That's how it always works anyways, because each fight's different. Your opponent can totally change the way they play. So you need to look at what's in the information in front of you. And the core boxing of Virtua Fighter is a really good way to gather information. Now, looks like our connection sucks. I'm under the impression this is going to be a real rough connection. This might even be Wi-Fi, to be honest. When it's taking this long to sync, could be Wi-Fi. They could see who they're fighting and then they disconnect. That's okay. I'm just glad I didn't get the warning for that. So it is true. So this is also why there's a combination of things. Some players ask me why, if I don't exactly like rollback more or worse than I like delay-based netcode, but I also don't. But here's the thing: I like the netcode. I really like the netcode, both of them, rollback and delay. But they each have their own things they're challenges that I have to overcome. Rollback is what I would say is noisy. The signal is not always perfectly clear, but there are enough clues, and the changes they made a month ago really do improve the rollback, because those rollbacks they're happening really quick, but they tried to make it so that the sound wouldn't totally trigger you. It still happens, and I was able to deal with the old rollback too, but it was really noisy because situations would reset and you had to kind of just adjust on the fly. And this would change your options, and it still can. So sometimes you're gonna play safer is not the right word, but you can alter your options to where you're gonna have less consequence for getting bad intel, right? Delay-based netcode. The thing about delay-based netcode is this game has a real generous input buffer, and you should use it. This game has always had a tight relationship between guessing and reacting. And actually, because it is a 3D fighter, and 3D fighters have slower startup times, longer startup times than like 2D fighters, you can use that in all 3D fighters by watching your opponent's character. And so you can predict a lot of outcomes, and that's important. But in Virtua Fighter, it's super important because it allows you to play even offline the speed that Virtua Fighter wants to play at, and so, or the speed of decision making. So delay-based netcode actually in Virtua Fighter works very well. For me, it's just a matter of getting used to earlier decision points and controlling that, and then also a tolerance for guessing versus reacting. However, I'm doing a lot of reactive stuff when I play on delay-based netcode, like really, really reactive stuff. The same reactive stuff I do offline. It's just, a little different, but I would say playing delay-based netcode made me way sharper, so that when I played in offline, it didn't change the outcome, but I had more time to think about what I wanted to do sometimes. So then I just told myself to slow down and react, but don't exactly act until, give it an extra couple frames of thinking to be sure if that's what I wanted to do. That's what it did. But still, playing high-speed VF, offline and online, delay-based or not. And then on rollback, the good thing about rollback is things like block a low punch and respond is easier for beginners to do on rollback than it is on delay-based. But delay-based is not that hard, actually. It's really not that hard. So for me, the rollback is just noisy, but because of my experience level, I know how to deal with it and work around it. But because of my experience, I know how to work around the delay-based netcode as well, which is why you guys see me have no trouble fighting against Germany, no trouble fighting against Australia, no trouble fighting against Egypt. I mean, some trouble, but I just see it as a challenge to overcome. And the thing is, when you play in tournaments, everything's a challenge to overcome. Performance management is a very big theme for me because it is one of the things a lot of players don't want to talk about, don't want to do, but any serious competitor understands performance management. I'm pretty sure Aztec totally understands performance management, right? Aztec is a real seasoned competitor. They must understand performance management. So, yeah. Aztec, yeah, I can do a first to 10. That would be a lot of fun. Let me roll an ad, and then go ahead and set up the room, and message me where to go, and I'll join you. So let's do a first to 10. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And you're a very strong customer, so I'm looking forward to seeing how you're fighting, and if not, I'm looking forward to sharpening you back up. So I'm gonna roll an ad, but go ahead and send me the room info. I'll join you. So after the ads roll, we'll do our fight. So for those that are watching this on the VOD, I'm just waiting for about 30 seconds for the ad to finish, and then we'll start our fight. I'm really happy that Aztec reached out and wanted to spar. I think sparring is going to be a lot of fun. And Aztec is strong. Like, Aztec is very strong. And so I'm looking forward to I haven't fought them in a long time. I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring. All right, we got 10 seconds for the ads to go, and then we will be ready. 3, 2. Okay, so for those watching live, the ads rolled. So go ahead. We're going to let you be first player or whatever side you want to be on Aztec. If you prefer player 1, just let me know. It's my courtesy. I'm happy either side that we play on. So, all right, let's do it. All right, Aztec, thank you very much for challenging me to this first to 10. I think it's going to be a good sparring session. This is going to be great. Let's have fun. Aztec is very strong the last time I fought you. Let's see what you got now.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Good. Alright, good. That was excellent. That was excellent. I like the evade and the throw. I think it was evade throw. Yeah.
Ready, go!
I like that choice. I like that too. I love that Sabaki. That was fantastic. All 3 of those choices were really good. 2 frame is probably not our best delay. I think 3 frame would work better, but that's fine. Alright, we're not doing the he isn't doing exactly the Okizeme on 3PP. So we'll see. I misinputted, and that's okay. Alright, so on this connection, it will be hard for him to confirm his 3 PPs a little. He's going to have to guess a bit. Very good. Go with throw. I like I like the choice for here. That should be good. That was good. They went with down. It was a good mix up here. I missed the tech, and then I missed the other throw escape. So, excellent first game. That was really, really good. Yeah. That said, think in the future 3 frames will be better, but this is good. This is good training for me too, because with Go, these decisions are really quick. So you got to be like, okay, we'll react quickly to those change-ups here.
Ready, go!
Good, I like that mix-up. Alright. Good. He goes with 3. Alright, 3P, 3P. Okay. Got it.
Round 2. Ready, go!
I like that Sabaki. That was so cool. Okay.
Round 3. Ready, go!
I'm still old school. I still tend to throw here, even though I can get KK punish, I believe. I think they increased the recovery. All right, you want to roll up or down again after this throw. Good. Good. Very good. Good, good, good. I'm like I don't know why I'm afraid to punish this hook, but right now I think I'll get used to it. But right now it's like I'm hesitant about it, and I think it's because I do think I sense certain threat. What happens if I go for that? Okay.
See? I thought I'm better.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if it's a subconscious response that's telling me not to try to punish the hook, but yeah. But I do think you're capable of doing 3P, 3P and stuff like that. My input's a little sloppy there, and that's okay.
Round 2. Ready, go!
I always like that hook. I'm always gonna love that uppercut.
Knockout. Round 3. Ready, go! Ring out.
Right. I don't think about tier lists when it comes to Virtua Fighter, because one, the skill level is going to affect that dramatically, but also there really aren't, like, the tier listing is really a weird idea in this game because this game is so system heavy, and so just playing a character well is more important.
Ready, go!
And also all characters are well represented. But right now, if you wanted to think about that, what is it, Pai, Kage, Shun? But even then, it won't really matter as much. Tiers don't really matter until you're actually able to play at a level where you could just change the characters anyways. But even then, they don't matter as much. Not in this game. Like, the level that you'd have to play for the theoretical ones is ridiculously high, and even then, the low tier would still win tournaments. So that's why they tend to matter less. So you want to play a character that it maybe is easier for you to get that works with the way that you like to play. But even then, this game is so system heavy. But yeah. It's a good question, though. It is a good question. So my number one advice for somebody playing this game, even if they want to play it seriously, is definitely play the character that is most interesting or most fun for you, and that makes you feel free to do the good stuff that you want to do. That's my number one tip. And it's not a facetious tip. That's a real tip. Very good. I like that. I like that whiff punish.
Round 2. Ready, go!
I like that.
Knockout. Round 3. Ready, go!
Nice.
Knockout.
But yeah, Clouded Judgment, how are you doing today? Which characters are you interested in? So would it... Okay, I did miss your question, Baba. I'll answer it a bit later, probably between the next game. Would it affect my muscle memory or create a different set of habits? That's a good question.
Ring out. Round 2. Ready, go!
I like the use of Punch Punch. Punch Punch is a good string that Go has because it's high mid. It punishes people that want a low punch when they see that high punch. It's really good for that. Of course, it's got limited upside, but it's still really good at doing that, specifically that. And it also makes it good like when somebody evades your jab, like. But the thing is that punch elbow is still really good, right? Like this is still probably better, but punch punch is really good.
Knockout.
Yeah, VF tiers are not as rigid as other games. It's because of the design too, right? This is this is like about systems of fighting versus systems of fighting, and by that we just mean like martial arts systems. So, as opposed to like signature moves versus signature moves. That was bad of me to do. I had a much better answer. Very nice. Very nice. I was a little slow there, but I had ideas, and I was too slow to execute my ideas, but those were great. So, this thing, when I do that double kick, right, that forward stance and the kick, that PKP, you cannot guard it, but you can crouch it. You can do like a low punch. Now that said, if you low punch, that's a big risk. If you simply crouch and not attack, that's a little safer. But you can also, but you can crouch, but if you decide to crush, you can crush. Just understand there's a big risk to crush if I predict that. Alright, and I'm going to force a lot of mid-low on the wake-up, right?
Ready, go!
Got to roll up or down here. So you can mash on guard and up or down if I do that throw. Very good. Alright.
Ring out. Round 3. Ready, go!
They don't matter as much as like the player themselves. I will say the player, you yourself matter much more than the tier part. They matter to a degree, not that much. But what matters more is like how you play and the character you're playing, you know. But it's not as like straightforward as like a lot of other fighters where it's like, oh, you're this style of player, so this automatically means you're good. It just means like, but that matters to a degree. Very good, very good. All right.
Ready, go!
Very good. That was a great throw choice. You can do better throw choices, but the fact that you chose throw there was really good. Like, don't be discouraged by throw escapes, by the way. Especially in this game, do not be discouraged by throw escapes. They're just part of it. Just get good at fighting after the throw escape. But, like, throws are so important in this game. They're not just utility, they're not just disruption in Virtua Fighter. They're a huge source of damage, especially for Go. So throwing is definitely a big part. And if the person escapes the throw, that's okay. If they launch you for throwing, that's different. If they launch you for throwing, now you got to be worried about that you're being too predictable about when you would throw. But if they're escaping the throw, that's just part of the deal. Very nice. That was good. That was good. I like this catch throw choice. Now it's just me doing a Bari. I like this choice too. 3P into 2P. Alright.
Round 2. Ready, go!
I love that 4-6K. I like this too, and I was too slow to do the... I like this activity. I like this activity. This is fun. Stepping it up, confident reads, we're good. A lot of good defiance. VF is good about being defiant. I tried to take the hit. It doesn't work on this move. That was intense. I'm loving it. Don't be afraid to be defined in VF. Really, don't be.
Round 5.
I believe so, yes. They've confirmed that they are. I wouldn't say it if they didn't confirm that they are. But they've confirmed that they are, Boat Lady. Hey, Jeff, it's so good to see you. Another amazingly strong player in North America. Yep, very good win. Very good win, Aztec. Alright, it's so good to see you, Jeff. Kage is considered top tier right now. So Kage is actually now considered in the top tier if we're going to talk about the character strength. But Y2D is strong even when Kage is low tier. Y2D is a ridiculously strong player. Yeah. Also, Aztec, Jeff has got an amazingly good go. They're not going to say that. They're not going to say that, but they do. I love, like, the thing about Jeff is their Yomi is so good. They're really good at studying the opponent. I like how Aztec's playing now. This is so good. VF is always been good about balancing offense and defense. So that's why Defiance is good. But I do think that there used to be a very strong school of thought that the game should be like moral is a good way to teach the fundamentals of the game, but but if you overdo moral, you're going to overvalue certain options. And it was always about options, in my opinion, at all levels, at all versions of the game. So, yeah. But VF is strong about that. It's just if you don't defy your opponent, you become way too predictable. And predictability is the thing that loses VF. Hey, Hot Sauce Nelly, so good to see you. Jackie is a lot of fun. They are. Oh, you'd be so terrifying as Jackie. Your Jackie will be very terrifying. I'm looking forward to it. But I also love your Leifei, and I love your Go. And I really, I want to see where your Eileen's been going too, MJ. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun playing Lao. Learning is, I don't know if I'd call it learning. I mean, it is, but it's more that like I'm having fun playing Lao when I'm teaching, and part of it, and I do try to play it serious too. But the reason I like playing Lao is forces me to confirm a lot more, forces me to be more patient because he's standing so much, and I like that. I love this move. This choice is so good. Nice. Alright, Aztec's doing great here. Very good. Very good.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Good. Good. Alright, that was an excellent game. Very good game, Aztec. Yeah, so that's why I love playing Lao. Is he's forcing me to try to master up knife, forcing me to master 4P plus K, force me to master 3-3P, force me to hit confirm like a lot of stuff. And it's really fun. It's really, really fun. Yeah.
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout. Round 2. Ready,
I think you can do even on delay, but it is harder, yeah. But I do agree that like the tight hit confirming is definitely super important. So yeah, rollback allows you to do the speed. But I enjoyed it playing Lao. I was playing Lao during delay base, so and it's so much fun. It's just different, but actually not that different. But it's just like I said, having to like look at animation. But you're already doing that too. I mean, I'm not going to downplay your ability to respond quickly. I know what you're saying. All right. Oh, that was so cool. I love that. I love that too. Alright. I'm being foolish, but that was good. Aztec is playing no nonsense here. Let's do this. Let's keep it up. There you go. Now you got the hit throw. Good. Nice crouch. There it is. That was the crouch. That was the crouch. That was really good. I like it. I like it. This is what I like to see. All right, Aztec. This is awesome. These last 3 games, so good.
Round
I
1.
like it a lot.
Ready, go! Excellent! Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go!
Nice. He went with down. I think down. He goes down quite a bit. He uses the 2 instead of 3, which is good. But he does mix it up, so.
Excellent! I want a serious fight!
Isn't it hard to do 3P Taka on rollback? 3P Taka. I'm not sure what 3P Taka is, so. Owen Jeff might know. How is Leon and Revo? Leon? It's not that he's gotten weaker. He's gotten a little stronger, but everybody else got a lot stronger. so he's like same. So Leon is like his place in the game is about same. But he did get quality of life improvements. He just didn't get like... I like this. I really like the way Aztec's going for it. This is so good.
Knockout!
Very good.
Round 2. Ready, go!
I thought I escaped it. Oh no, you gotta do forward. That was forward. Okay.
Knockout!
Hey, XTN, good to see you here.
Ready, go!
I accidentally did Goroshiki. Remember, roll up or down. The problem with doing the string, right? Low punch. Low punch beats a lot of strings.
Ready, go! Knockout!
Alright, that was intense. That was a real intense game. I do think the new Virtua Fighter will captivate not just a new fighting game audience, which I think it will. I think it will totally capture a new audience, period. I think it has a chance to be... I do think what they're doing is going for a much bigger audience, and I think that's great. Good. That was really good round, Aztec. That was an excellent round. I like that a lot. I like the choice there.
Ready,
is always down. Yep. Good.
Knockout.
PP is always good. PP is good.
Round 4. Ready, go. Ring out. Round 5. Ready, go.
I like that choice. Need to hit confirm correctly. Oh, that's so cool. Got the back throw too.
Knockout.
Okay, on this, it's gonna take me a while to register. That wasn't a rollback, but it feels like it. But it's like PP. I gotta see that better. It's good, 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 good. That's okay. There's a weakness to it, so. Yep, 100%. Yeah.
Round 1. Ready, go.
And I buffered too early.
Knockout. Round 2. Ready, go.
Good. Very good. That was such a good. That was a good sabaki here. That was a good sabaki.
Ready, go. Excellent. Round 4. Ready, go.
Good choice again. That was a really fun battle. That was an awesome battle, Aztec. Really, really awesome stuff. I enjoyed that very much. I loved that last half of that set. Really loved the last half of that set. Very, very good games. You too. Much respect, dude. Your go is awesome. Keep it up. Keep it up. That was awesome. I am gonna roll ads for 1 minute. I should stop playing soon. But let me VFTV this really quick, and I'm gonna respond to questions that were asked because there's a lot of good questions. So we're gonna go ahead and VFTV this. We'll start the ads, and I'm gonna check the questions that were asked.
This'll hurt you more than it hurts me. Yeah. Round 1. Ready, go.
Okay, we're about 25 seconds away from the ads being done, so I'm gonna comment on some of this stuff here. But I'm going to roll back to questions that were already answered a little bit because I think they're good topics. So, all right, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back if you were watching ads just now. So I'm going to answer some questions that were asked, and so I'm going to repeat some questions too. So Baba earlier said that I find VF harder in rollback since the reaction windows are very tight, more evident the higher level you get. It is kind of true, but you also start to see some things with the rollback. The good thing is the rollbacks are so short that generally you're okay, but some stuff was hard. Not going to lie. Aztec correctly used PP against me, and that does legit work against me because I'm a player that likes to hit buttons. So a high mid string has a very good chance at messing with me, just like jab elbow does, right? But it's also true that the rollback makes that a little, puts me in a funny state when it comes to the basic poke and I want to commit to an answer, and yet that punch, that PP can really feel weird in the mix with that. But it's not too bad. Honestly, the rollbacks can get used to, but definitely try to adjust your rollback settings. I set mine really high so that my opponent is setting what their comfort level is for the rollbacks. But I don't mind. I think the current rollback is much better than a month ago. I know that people see it more because they're more rapid when it's happening now, but I do think they're more... I can respond to the current rollbacks much better than I could the old rollbacks a month ago. But I do think that Virtua Fighter's design, because of the option space, because of how many things you could be doing on both players' end at any moment, and that there isn't, like, the most common default action is a very active thing like fuzzy guard or 6P. I think this makes it very hard for a rollback netcode. For any prediction-based netcode, I think Virtua Fighter's design makes it really hard. It's like, yes, when you're doing Street Fighter, it's reasonable for the system to default to thinking you might be holding back an extra few frames. Virtua Fighter, that doesn't mean anything, right? Virtua Fighter, you probably buffered an elbow versus buffered something else. That's kind of why evades are the most common rollback that we get, where the game shows us it was a hit and it turns out it was an evade, right? Because it just defaulted to we didn't do anything versus we evade. But if it rolled back to evade, that would totally mess you up. I would say that would be worse, right? If it faked evades, if it guessed that they didn't evade and then it rolled back into no, you got the hit, you would be much more angry than the current state of they did the evade, but it looks like you got the hit. Still rough, but I think this the current way would be much better than if it like faked evade on us. You know, because we would be so tilted after seeing so many rollback evades, like so many like, oh, it evaded, no, actually you did get the hit, right? That'd be brutal. But we've got a ways to go, and I do think the new Virtua Fighter's design is going to be designed with rollback in mind. Final Showdown obviously not designed with rollback in mind, right? It's designed in 2010. So yeah. And I do not conflate Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla or R with Final Showdown. Final Showdown is technically Virtua Fighter 6 in my mind. Would it affect your muscle memory or create a different set of habits? It can affect your decision process, and muscle memory a little, like yes and no. Like you just kind of add to your muscle memory. You kind of add other options and stuff. So does it affect? Yeah, I mean things like that do affect. Okay, other questions. We talked about the tier list already. When did that? Hey, LD Wells came in. Awesome. What running? The Kotal card. Yeah, man. Aztec is a legend. Aztec's a real legend. I'm really honored that Aztec is supporting my stream today. So Aztec, thank you so much always. You know I always loved when you're playing VF as well. And I do love it when Mortal Kombat players play Virtua Fighter. They understand attack, defense, flow, and sort of the decision making. The paces are a little different, and yet they make it look so easy to switch between the two games, the two series. Yeah, and then The Rock Reaper gave awesome feedback during the chat, you know, saying like Pai and Aoi seem strong if that's where you want to start, but it's definitely about finding characters that fit your hand like a glove. 100%. Exactly. I agree with that 100%. And yeah, Clouded Judgment, we had really good chats. I love the conversation we had there. And yeah, the Rock Reaper, I liked everything they said. Let's see. Nelly, good to see you. Defiance should be your middle name. So, yeah, Defiance is my middle name. I like to hit buttons. As Shadosha likes to say, Chanchai don't give a fuck, but he's smart about it. So, yeah. So I would say Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla is probably where it tried to cater a little more towards the moral style, and the decisions were kind of weird, but it was an interesting game, and it is still a great game. It's just not my favorite in the series, but it's still a game I love and is a lot of fun. But it is true that what you have in older school modern Virtua Fighter, so if you got like the VF4 series, Virtua Fighter 5 also, Vanilla, those games, if you stay like they wanted you to move forward, that's Virtua Fighters always wanted you to move forward, but once you stay too close, if you're not winning the battle, then you kind of need to move away in those games, because you've got a lot of defensive techniques that are really strong for the moment that there's a frame situation, but suddenly they are less strong after that. So because of that, you typically kind of want to move away if you're not winning the battle. If you're winning the battle, then you keep pressing forward because it's in your favor. So it is interesting that Virtua Fighter 4 up until VF5, and actually including VF5R, has that really strong momentum flow, right? Whereas Final Showdown has that let's duke it out flow, right? And we can still do momentum and space. They're still huge in Final Showdown, but Final Showdown really creates strong mix-up almost all of the time. But strong keep away is really good at high-level play. It is harder to do, which is why it's not in low-level play, but it's strong at all levels of play. The reason John and Shun are strong at intermediate level play is because they have good keep away game by default. Everybody else, you kind of have to learn how to do Virtua Fighter keep away. Backdash in this game is really good. It's just risky. So people get scared to do it. It's really strong in this game. It just has to be used properly. It has to be used with good purpose and good reason and good evidence that it's going to work. If you do it when it's never going to work, you're going to die because backdash is so risky. But it's so rewarding too. So just because it's risky doesn't mean it does not have reward. This game balances a lot of that. I think Final Showdown does an amazing job of giving lots of situations and having lots and understanding that there's layers of options and layers of warping the good option space of your opponent and yourself. And I like that. I think it's amazing. Now, Final Showdown is a high damage game, so that means every character in this game can like blow you up in about 2.5 to 3.5 critical decisions. Let's emphasize critical decisions, right? Critical decisions is when you decided to gamble and it paid off, or you decided to gamble and it blew up on you. Your opponent decided to gamble and your choice paid off, right? Those are the critical decisions. There's a lot of small decisions that happen in between all that. And so when we talk about how you could win the round with about 2.5 to 3.5 critical decisions in Final Showdown, it was more nuanced and more class-based in a lot of other VF games. Not always. Like VF3, actually Final Showdown's damage is kind of like Virtua Fighter 3, if I'm being honest. But when you had like Virtua Fighter 4 all the way to Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla, you definitely had light characters need to chip away and build reads, or needs to get good at conditioning the opponent. And then heavy characters don't have to do it as much, but they might have trouble gaining ground, but when they make a good decision, they just have to win like 2 to 3 decisions. Whereas the lightweight characters have to really fight hard for it, but could do it because their technical capability made it very hard for the heavier weight character. So I think that's something I do miss. So in the future Virtua Fighter, I am hoping we get back into a strategic flow. For Final Showdown, I love how it is. I really love how Final Showdown is. It is my favorite Virtua Fighter game. It's just that but I do like the strategic flow of having the health, the damage levels be a little different, right? Be a little more class based. But it would also mean that, but the problem then is that the technical characters can be way too good at being technical. It's really hard to balance. But I do think Virtua Fighter 4 to 5 Vanilla did a good job with this overall. Virtua Fighter 5R I don't comment on much, but it's just, I would say that game just has a lot of momentum because the wall is ridiculously strong and there are more combos in that game, but it's a very different game and I only played it one day, so I cannot comment on R. I will say it's weird, and in a way it's a weird spin-off of Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla, but it's also its own game. Okay, so yeah, Own Jeff playing Jackie is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And yeah, I'm having so much fun with Lao. Everything that Own Jeff said about Lao is true though. Lao, if you want to use Lao's signature tools, you got to hit confirm really well. And in general, you should when you play Lao. The Chinese would say Lao is the most honest character in Virtua Fighter, and I think the Japanese say that too. He's really, really honest character. He can be contained just simply by the opponent doing a lot of low punch, so then he has to really respect the frames like a lot because of that. Yeah, so hit confirm is hard, but again, I always talk about situation confirm. Situation confirm is watch your opponent during the execution of your attack and make a prediction, an educated prediction. If you see them attacking late, it's going to be a counter hit. You don't need to wait for the hit spark to tell you it's going to be a counter hit. If they are crouching, really high chance it's going to be a crouch hit, so you can go ahead and buffer your next thing appropriately. If they do nothing, maybe guard, maybe normal hit, and if you're really not sure, you can just crouch dash. It's pretty good. Crouch dashing can lead to a lot of options, so it's not bad to crouch dash, but you can also then hit confirm certain stuff where you're like, okay, if I see the hit, I hit the button. If I don't see the hit, we're just going to defend. And that's what we do with situation confirm. It's really, really strong in Virtua Fighter. So using your opponent's startup frames is really, really, really strong in Virtua Fighter. Alright, so I already talked about Leon and REVO. Is that Leon's place stays about the same, which means he might drop a tier because a lot of other characters stepped up in REVO. But Leon got quality of life improvements that do help him. They do smooth out his game a bit, but ultimately he is about the same. He's pretty static. 4K is really good, but for Leon, if the opponent does ECD to Leon's backside, they will avoid 4K. They will duck under 4K. So he needs like +5 or better if he really wants 4K to like punish sidestepping if they're doing ECD. Sir Hicks also, seeing everyone playing is showing me how out of practice I am. I will be decent again and eventually get great. I believe it. Sir Hicks a lot, keep it up. I am always cheering for you and I really like your VF a lot too. Alright. XTN, so good to see you. Yes, I've just been trying to learn the timing for it rather than visually timing it. Okay, sounds like it's a hit throw. Hit throws, okay, if we're talking about hit throws or just frames, these are hard in general, no matter what. Offline, online, they're tricky, right? But there's another factor that changes those too. And the biggest factor actually is buffer versus neutral. So if you do like a hit throw in the neutral, it has a timing. But if you buffer the hit, the attack, that attack's going to make connection later. So then that's the reason for having to do the hit throw visually, which makes it hard. Whereas normally you can just do timing. But now there is a hack for that. The hack is really risky though. So the hack is that when you're going to do a hit throw, you wait until your character's almost recovered before you actually buffer it in. You don't buffer that one early. If you do that, then it'll be a little more consistent. But ultimately, if you can visually confirm, it's the best. But online, that makes it a little trickier. So whether it's delay or rollback. So yeah, hit throws are tricky, but because they have timings, like Aoi's is really timed, and that one is the easier one to do. because it's such a fast attack, and because you're more likely to use it in cases that are more like neutral, unless you're punishing sweep. But she now has better punish for sweep. But yeah, so the problem with the muscle memory is basically when you get the buffer situation. But you can also practice muscle memory the buffer situation, like the specific situation. Like when I guard this and I punish with a hit throw, this is how I do it. But I do think that the really fast like hit throws like goes 4K hit throw is generally easy for the most part. I think the timing is very nice, unless I buffer. Yeah, EI Gary is definitely a timing thing. But if you did buffer it, it would be harder. But that's not usually where we do it. We usually use EI Gary in combos, in which case there's no buff. There's not much buffering, just a little, and we typically do it in the neutral or like Oki's, like when they're waking up too. So yeah. Yeah, I loved when Aztec played more and more confident because, you know, the early rounds they were using it to watch. They're using it to watch. They're being very careful, and so it was really good. So when you get to see the real, like, Aztec step it up, that was awesome. That was so much fun. So much fun. Really like fighting Aztec a lot. Yeah, and then I already said that I do believe that the new VF project will captivate not just a wider FGC, it'll just captivate a wider audience, period, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy they're doing VF5 REVO, so a person like me gets to enjoy extra, like, this life that we have in this game right now, and it also frees me up to be much more open-minded about what the new Virtua Fighter is, and to accept it, whatever it is. And I think it's going to be amazing, but I'm much more now open to it being its own game. And that's how it should be. Yeah, Lao, like, to maximize Lao, he really needs for Lao to do really strong stuff, he needs to hit confirm a lot, yeah. The good thing about Lao's 4P plus K is you can do situation check with that pretty well. Simply because if they guard, like, they're stuck with a certain option, and mainly if they crouch. So if you get the crouch, like, you already know the outcome way ahead of time. So if they crouch into the 4P plus K, that one's the easier confirm. So yeah, it is good stuff, but it is still discipline, and an off day can be rough. Hey, XTN, yeah, good morning and stream. Coming in to learn some since my meeting got canceled. Alright, sorry that your meeting got canceled, but I'm glad you're here with us. Yeah, just says a lot of new guys with a lot of potential. 100%. There's a lot of things that are happening. The fighting game community as a whole this generation understands fighting games much quicker and much better than in the past. We teach it better. There's more learning tools. There's more concepts that are understood, and more modern fighting games are using more concepts too. So at this point, the whole community as a whole are much better at fighting games than they were before. And yeah, and then there's also more open mind. I think, you know, especially since pandemic, a lot of people had time to really play a lot of fighting games and really see what they like and don't like, and really process it in a more complete way. And I think we're at an interesting time, a wonderful time actually, at least for the hardcoreness of it. So spring logs, not sure which one you want me to elaborate on. I'm sorry, I'm way behind. But yeah. Hey, Bronx Jackie, so good to see you, my friend.
I'm not sure if VF4 had less circulars. I mean, they were still a big factor in that game. That said, nowadays VF4 feels a lot slower compared to, like, I think Final Showdown is a really fast game. So, Nightspeed had asked earlier, quite a while ago, when you say reactable, do you mean reacting during evades or if you're just blocking? I'm talking about all the reactions. So, some of the stuff that happens, there's a lot of reactive. Stay in the neutral, advanced neutral. There's a lot of there's some reacting there and some guessing. Reacting to stuff like to them missing a high, reacting to them throw whiffing, reacting to them hitting a button, reacting to them moving, stepping. Some of the lay phase will set up like long range. They'll set up like full charge attack, and what they're doing is they're watching to see if the opponent does ECD. And then that makes a decision for them when to do max charge. So reacting really does mean reacting. When you're reacting though, understand, yes, you're being sharper, but you're applying your sharpness differently. The fastest way to play this game is playing on the forced guessing, which is, okay, when I get the hit, I know the frames, and I'm going to apply the frames right away. I buffer it. That's the fastest way to play. When you're playing on reacting, you're not taking all that guess as much. You're instead choosing to respond to some kind of action that happens on the screen. So in theory, this means you're playing slower, but you're playing sharper because you're trying to respond to things that happen on the screen. Because of this is actually why when somebody's trying to react, but their level of their reaction is not like the super fastest, or they're not considering their safety when they're reacting. That's why stuff like doing low punch, it gets blocked into uppercut works, right? That's why you can kind of like try to beat them by predicting what they're doing and catching them because they're playing a little delayed. And you just have to be one speed faster than whatever speed they're playing at to counter hit them. So when people play reactively, it changes the way that the game can be played in a good way. It's a beautiful thing. And this game, you can play a lot of force guess, where you use the knowledge of frame data, and you use the knowledge of strong options, and how to mix up, how to make it so that your opponent's dealing with one thing or the other, but it's hard for them to deal with both. That's what a mix-up is. A mix-up doesn't mean, oh, this is a mix-up situation, so I have to roll the dice. That's not mix-up. That's not proper way to play mix-up. Proper way to play the mix-up is to understand this option will beat somebody that's going to attack here. And this other option is going to really make it hard for them if they like to defend. So I think they're going to defend, so I choose the option that beats defend. I think they're going to attack, I choose the option that beats attack. That's the nature of the mix-up. The mix-up is not like, oh, these two are good, and I'm going to roll a dice and be random about it. That's not the proper way to play it. Proper way to play it is... now, what you can do, though, in the mix-up is you're like, you know what, I'm going to pick the attack option, and I'm going to pick up maybe a safer attack either, like a counter hit launcher, because I just want to see what they do. And if they happen to do the wrong thing, that's good. And if they happen to do the correct thing, that's okay too, because I can deal with being a little minus when they block this. So if they defend correctly, that's why we do the attack option. We don't do the attack option because you should always do attack. We do the attack option because of its relative safety, because it works out well. But the more we know, the more certain we become about which option they're going to pick. Are they going to defend? Are they going to attack in defiance? The more certain we are of that, the more certain that we start picking the option that will, that we start picking the option that will beat that. That's the nature of mix-up. The nature of mix-up is not, oh, this is two options, I just guess and I roll the dice. That's not it. It's actually thinking about what they're really going to do and really go after it. How certain are you they're going to defend? If you're very certain, then you should throw them, actually. Or guard break. But if they defy that, that was because they chose correctly. They're like, oh, this person's going to try to do that to me. So, yeah. Let's see. So Jeff asked, what setting do I have rollback set to? I have mine set to 5 because I let my opponent choose what rollback, and if it's really bad, then in room we can go to 6. But I have mine set to 5 because the game will pick the lowest of the 2 people. So when you see me playing somebody and it's 2, it's because the opponent's set to 2. Alright, and then the Rock Reaper was responding to Night Speed. I'm talking while blocking in particular, but you can cancel evades with a crouch dash, to crouch guard or guard, but that's a bit fast to react with, yeah. So I do want to say, I do use ECD and movement options as a way to be able to watch too. It keeps my brain active. It keeps my brain active. My hands are already in position to crouch guard, and it's easy to go from crouch guard to standing guard. So ECD kind of like one way to do it is to cover that kind of like if they're really slow, I can respond to what they're doing. If they pick a slow option, I have a chance to respond to what they're doing. So that is how I tend to use the ECD and stuff like that.
Round 4. Ready, go!
I do think 3 is a really good setting. From watching the matches, there's a big difference between 2 and 3, and there are times where it was set to 2, but like if it was set to 3, it could have been better. But, you know, just like if you're rolling the dice on your opponents, like, which opponent am I fighting? I think 3 is a good number. I think it is. Right. Thank you very much for the compliment, Baba. Because I've talked so long, I don't know which part you said that I nailed it, but thank you very much. I'm glad it made sense to you. I'm glad whatever I've said has made sense to any of you. Thank you all so much. Owen Jeff says, I think rollback level 5 or 6 is the best for good connection. Yeah, and then 4 on yellow connection. But that's just me. That's a good thought. I will have to think about that. Am I competing in any offline? So the hard part is life, right? I've got a family, and we've got a lot of family trips planned, so my budget is insanely tight this year. And then, you know, certain situations mean my budget's tight this year as well. So I wish I could go to Combo Breaker, but I promised my daughter that I would take her to the Stray Kids concert in Seattle, and it's that same weekend. So I won't be going to Combo Breaker, but I'll be cheering for people, and I'll be trying to make sure that the VF community there takes good care of Chimpanzee if he goes there. Because he's an amazing player, and I want him to have the best time. And he is so fun. That guy is like the best wingman in the world type of personality. You'll love him. But I play a lot of tournaments. I do play a lot of offline. I play offline roughly 2 days a week, and I have been playing monthly tournaments and seasonal tournaments, and so I do play tournaments quite a bit within my region. Lately, I try to post more about it so people know, because a lot of people don't know that I play tournaments. And so far, I think I've been on a tournament winning streak like since September. I think I've won every tournament that I've played in since September. Maybe I've lost one. I think I've won every one of them since September. But I've been playing like 1 to 2 tournaments a month. Yeah. So Panda says, I wonder if it is actually taking into account the next frame now. It was not in the early rollbacks of this game. I do think rollback should take into I do think the delay-based netcode in Ultimate Showdown, I think one of the things that Ultimate Showdown did do was it took into account fixed situations. But this is also why desyncs would be more, like, lack of synchronization would be seen in Ultimate Showdown when it was a charge attack. And then there were some things where it's prioritizing guard. So like it would be a little slightly harder to guard low attacks on reaction than highs, but I think that's a better thing overall for it to do that if it had to make that choice. But I do think there was a lot of like, okay, when this happens, this fixed event will happen. This is what the result will be. I think Ultimate Showdown did do that in its netcode, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But when it comes to the next frame now, that would be cool. So it was not in the earlier rollback. So I wonder. That sounds cool. Which is why you could get truly fake combos online that were a frame off, as if the opponent was still in hit stun. I didn't see much, but I did see some weird situations where a combo happened and the whole combo got rolled back, but that was on the most extreme connections, though. That's interesting observation, Panda. Thanks a lot. I have to think about that.
Let's see how many seconds you'll last. Are you ready for this?
Round one. Ready, go!
Own Jeff, I actually think it's like a sample rate. So I think when you do the lower number, it's happening more often. The rollback is happening a little more often. And so the prediction cutoff is happening a little more. I think so. Because I always feel like if you set my opinion, when I play against worse connections, higher numbers better. And when I play against better connections, it's smaller numbers better. That's my experience. But you have been playing way more matches than I have. So I don't, that you have a much more experience with all that. That said, and also congratulations on Own Jeff's rank. Their rank is like up like a lot. They are way high rank, which means they've played a lot of ranked, which means they've played a lot of different opponents. So I do not want to ever discount their experience, but that was my impression.
Knockout. Round four. Ready, go!
I see. I do agree with Panda that it would be nice if there was a setting to automatically try to match the ping. But they said not by default, but it could work well to set it at the beginning of the match. That is, I wonder how that will play. So, and it sounds good. The Rock Reaper says, I honestly prefer a consistent timing rather than a variable one. I actually agree with this personally. I like a consistent timing rather than a variable one. But that's me. But it also looks like it means different things to different people, even that statement. So, yeah. So, yeah, Panda says, if I want high delay, I'll go back to PSN. And there's something to be said about that, right? Like, Onjef is a player that is really strong in all of it, and they're really strong offline. Really, really strong offline. But they got really strong also, just like me. We are more than comfortable playing on the PSN delay base. But I do think it's clear that Onjef loves playing on the rollback Netcode. So, But I will say, yeah, Onjef, let us know how it works for you when you go to rollback 3. I do think it's a lot better than it was a month ago. Like, a lot, yeah. I think it's improved. The 2-frame dudes are wild. And Nala said that, yeah, everyone low-keys them. I think, okay, so that is a factor, right? Aztec kind of mentioned, hey, I'm on default settings. That makes sense. The default settings, I think, are 2, and it's like, you know what? You should set it to 3. The thing is they should set the default to 3. They should. I think 100%. I think maybe Sega has it set default to 2 because Japan. Because Japan has, like, the best internet aside from South Korea, right? So I think Japan just sets it to 2 by default, and it's like, dude, Sega, we should tell Sega, hey, consider making 3 the default. Because that might be what's dealing. Hey, Sir Hickslot, thanks for stopping by.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Have to ask Akai. They were in the room earlier, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So I think everybody's saying, yeah, maybe make the default 3 sounds like a good Yeah, and Onjeff and Deniso 201, who are high-speed demons, like to play it on 5.
Round 4. Ready, go!
I do think they might save a spot for an online qualifier. I think they did mention their intention to do an online qualifier for the championships. Sorry, I need to drink water. My throat's too dry and it's starting to cough. Fortunately, my the bronchitis coughs went away about a few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago. So I haven't had the coughing episodes for about 3 weeks. But this morning it's just that my throat's dry. I need to drink water. Let's see here. I want to travel so bad, but I 100% agree. That's how I feel. I really want to, right? I want, this year especially, I really want to go to Japan. Really wanted to go to Combo Breaker. Really want to go to CEO, because I'm pretty sure VF's going to be there. Really want to go to, I think it's already confirmed. Really want to go to EVO. And really want to go to EVO France. I want to go to Nice. Really bad. And, you know, I had a wonderful time in Paris, and I had a wonderful time in Lyon. I would love to go to Nice, and it's not going to work out. I don't think it's going to work out this year, but and technically I could afford to go to Japan, because right now flights to Japan from the West Coast are pretty good. The rates are pretty good. It's just, you know, family, work, all that stuff. But I wish I could go to EVO Japan. Honestly, that's still the big one for me this year, would be that. The one frame guys definitely freak us all out. I'm very sure that CEO will be a qualifier, 100%. Especially with that announcement, CEO definitely has got to be a qualifier. So I'm cheering for you, Volcano. Well, I mean, they've just announced Combo Breaker is, but CEO absolutely is a qualifier, 100%. Like that, I would bet on that. It's a qualifier for sure. Yeah, definitely agree on the crossplay. One frame delayed people are trolls. Sometimes they just don't know any better. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it's their online strategy, right? But the thing is, at least for me, people that play like that, I usually win, so I'm okay. You know, I mean, playing against the people that like one frame and are trying to like spam. We get like free counter hit launches, like a lot. So. I gotta pick up Mavis Beacon or something. Ever typing? Yeah, EVO Japan would be so amazing. In July, is there a tournament? I'm not sure if there's well, there's tournaments all the time in Japan, but I don't know. But in Japan, you definitely hooking up with the community is awesome, and it would be good to know what events happening in case the community moves towards some region in Japan. But Japan's so amazing. Anytime you go to Japan, it's amazing, unless it's, you know, under some insane wartime emergency or something, or an earthquake. So EVO Japan is like the second weekend of May. Fight Kingdom is the first weekend of May. EVO Japan is the second weekend of May. And then Combo Breaker is the fourth weekend of May.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Definitely sign up for the Combo Breaker. It's going to get filled up. Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome, Zendo. You should definitely go to there. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of great players there and good times. Combo Breaker is always a really good time for the VF community. So you should definitely do that. So I'm glad I finally caught up with everyone's chat here. And I know that an ad rolled at some point. I didn't see it. So I apologize. But yeah. Yeah, Combo Breaker. I want to go so bad. I definitely can't go this year. My daughter would be so upset if I skipped out on it. If I skipped out on the Stray Kids concert. But I do like to joke that Felix from Stray Kids looks like Leon. So you know, we get to watch Leon in concert. He looks like a Korean Leon though. But, you know, it works. Yeah, Chicago. Well, Chicago's pretty awesome. That said, Aoki Seizi, the producer for Virtua Fighter for VF Legacy, they asked the question. They were like, "Hey, Frosty Frostings was really cold. Should they expect it to be really cold in May in Chicago?" What's the answer for that? I know that I went to Chicago in April, and it went from super sunny on one day to being super cold the next. I could not feel my face. My face was frozen, and so my face could not feel my hand, so my hand felt like it was touching a rubber mask. Yeah. Alright. But yeah, let them know it'll be much better. Should they still have like a trench coat, scarf, and gloves? You know? Okay, it does start getting warm. I heard it gets super hot like July though. I heard Chicago is actually really freaking hot when it's hot. So yeah, spring is always unstable. That makes sense. That's my experience. Yeah, it might be windy as well, but Chicago summers are supposed to be nice. Yeah, so Chicago, crazy weather, but it is a really beautiful city. And I really liked it when I went, but that was like 25 years ago. So, and I went there to play Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle, so with a friend. Home is always good. Home is always good for I. So thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you all had a good time. Let's send the love elsewhere. Does anybody want to nominate a raid? I'm going to try to send a raid to someone that will be pretty fun for you all. But let me see who's on right now. Numbers usually is. Numbers is not. Okay. Never mind. But let's first see what's on for Virtua Fighter. So a lot of people streaming Virtua Fighter. Oh, in Japan. So Sayaka is got 400 viewers. Sync God is pretty cool. And you got but they are Sync God is Taiwan. I think they're Taiwan, right? But they don't talk as much. The only thing is they don't talk. And I wish they would talk. Or at least chat or whatever, but it's okay if English is not comfortable. So let's see what are the vibes for a Sayaka player. But we got Osage Brad watching, we got Burua. You got legends watching Sayaka right now. And I do want Japanese VF to consider doing streaming on Twitch. Would you like that too? Alright, thank you very much, Springlogs. No, I'm still typing out my essay and thought piece to you. Hey, no problem. I like doing my... That said, it looks like they're... Let's see, how are they playing? Let's see. Okay, and Sayaka is an idol and cosplayer. Let me see. Let's see what else you got. Princess Fluff is doing Maple Story, and they have always been so supportive of me too. Let's see. So she's training for the Osu Akira versus Boom Boom Mara team battle. That's awesome. I see. So that's what's going on there.
Mission accomplished.
I can wait for your essay. If you want me to wait for your essay, Spring Logs, I will wait for it. I do have enough time to do that. Virtua War never changes. Yeah, the thing is they are doing more training, right? The only downside, but I do think Princess doesn't chat back. They chat back in the typing chat. They're awesome that way. Let me see, but I might send Sayaka to support. Saint God has really good matches though. They really do. Taiwanese VF is good, but it's a hard choice. Might do Sayaka because it's like one of those special occasions. So what I'm gonna say is this: I'm gonna raid Sayaka. I'm gonna wait for the essay. But then I plan to raid Sayaka, and but I am going to tell you all, check out Saint God. Saint God is a pretty good player, and it's always fun to watch the Asian players play as well. It's fun to watch those streams. Do I notice Japanese players play differently? Yes, compared to Western, yeah, generally, yeah. So I can talk about this. How do I tell things that you can watch a Japanese player do that's different than maybe a Western player? A lot of times Western players, I think it's getting better now. I think this generation is better than in the past. But in the past, a Western player would save their launcher for like a key moment. They would try to, it's like their trump card. And they're going to save it to use their trump card on you. So they're trying to get you with it, right? That's not really the risk reward way to play it, but that's the way they play it because they think too much of the risk. When you play Tekken, you get punished badly if you just carelessly do it, right? So punishing in Tekken is more natural. It's easier to see because the recoil, because the animation. So it tells your brain this is punishable. And so punish is a big deal in Tekken. Everyone knows you got to do that. Everyone knows you should do it in VF, but it's hard. A lot of people have trouble punishing in VF. So, Japanese player is going to do their launcher. And if they see you don't punish it, they'll do it more. And that's pretty much how you tell. Like, they're going to do launchers, and if you don't punish the launcher, they will do it a lot. You need to punish them twice before they start slowing it down. So that's a lot that you see. Part of it is that it's that we hesitate, but it's like we think about think about it as talk about driving culture. But I'm not going to talk about Japan here. I'm going to talk about Thailand. In America, we do defensive driving. Everybody is a jerk. Everybody is a threat to me. I'm going to drive carefully as I think. I'm going to drive as strong as I feel, but I've got to watch out for everybody else. Okay? And everybody else has got to be an a-hole or jerk or whatever. And in Thailand, in Bangkok, the driving culture there is an ant line. I focus on the car in front of me, I follow it. If it goes off the line, I go off the line. But I'm going to follow general rules while I do that. And I just have to stare at the car in front of me. I don't have to stare at the car behind me. Stare at the car in front of me. It's really scary for Americans. But it actually works in the insane traffic of Bangkok. And so there's that, right? But that's just to drill the point. Americans are very defensive by nature. They're very cautious. They're very, I want to do this launcher because I really want to do it, but I don't want to get punished for it. And when I punish for it, there's satisfaction because that's justice. But if I get away with it for free, I'm stealing stuff. I'm thugging them out. that's kind of like the American mindset for doing it. So we just don't do launchers much. We do it a little here and there, and we try to like surprise someone with it. We try to, when we see a weakness to it, then we'll do it. Japanese player will just kind of just do it as the mid option, and if you like don't punish it, they're like, oh, good. The risk is low. I can keep doing it, you know. and so you have to like, I have to actively teach people to think about that, to like, the risk is not there until your opponent actually punishes it. And you know what? It's not a bad thing if they punish it, because at least you trained your local rival, your regional opponent, your fellow national player to punish. So it's okay to do punishable things. And in this game, use your life as a resource. If you do that at full health, you still are in the round. You didn't lose unless they run you out with it. So in this game, use your life as a resource. Yeah, Thailand drivers, they do give a fuck, but they only care about the car in front. It's like an ant. But the thing that sucks for the Bangkok driver is when it's holiday, and so there's not much traffic, and they have no idea when they should make the turn. They have no idea when they should cross traffic, when they should make the turn that crosses traffic. So then you see a lot of bad decision making because they've got freedom, and freedom just gave them the freedom to choose poorly from lack of experience. Japanese players play more textbook usually. This is stereotyping, right? Stereotypically, a lot of Japanese players, sometimes they have a harder time with creative plays, but of course, you know, even in countries where there is a strong orthodoxy and a strong way of doing things, there's always going to be an iconoclast, right? Westerners like Seven Samurai and Akira Kurosawa films, partly because the characters played by Toshiro Mifune are iconoclasts. They're like the character that stands against the conformity, right? In Seven Samurai, his character is the tall guy, swings a big sword. Turns out he didn't come from the samurai family, but he's the character we love. And Chibita, everyone around the world loves Chibita, and Chibita is an iconoclast, right? Chibita is a genius, and they know how to play the main game. They just they know how to play the quote-unquote proper way. They just know when to bring out the I see what you're doing, and I'm gonna go for the I know when to bring out stupid. Chibita's amazing at knowing when to bring out stupid, when to be clever, when to be smart. So everywhere around the world, everyone loves Chibita. You go to China, everyone loves Chibita. Go to any country that has a Virtua Fighter player, they love Chibita. Yeah. So it's just more that Americans are independent-minded. So if there's a thing about Americans, there is a value in learning it yourself. Filipinos have this too. There is this strong sense of it was my work that got me here. It's my thinking that got me here. I'm a genius, you know. So Americans kind of think like that, you know. And so there's a good thing to it, and there's some dumb moments too, you know. Japanese will ask me, right, like, Chanchai, why does American like to do the wrong thing? You know, and it's like, because the American wants to do what they want to do. They just try to build a plan around it. They try to build a genius plan around doing what they want to do. And I embody that a lot, right? So I teach differently, but I'm very whimsical, and I like to do that too. So I've embraced my American side, you know. So yeah, gotta work the whole circle of Yomi, 100%. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and do the raid now, and I appreciate you all very much, and I hope that answer was interesting for you. Yeah, I always like playing against people who have strong autopilot because I get to practice punishing stuff. No, 100%, and I like that too. You can say that the Japanese play a lot of autopilot because they're trying to follow quote-unquote fundamentals, right? So because of that's where the stereotypical Japanese player, there's a protocol, and you can hack the protocol, and then you have to get them into playing thinking VF. And when they do, it's very different. Strong players, same way, right? when Alpai played against me, I think it was like the second game. They were just like, "Oh, Chanchai is genius player." They don't mean I'm a genius. They mean that I'm the type of player that will try to set up stuff. That tries to play, in a way that's like, that's gonna do risky things because I have a sense of certain things, and so that's what they meant by that. Yeah. So, Chanchai VF. Okay, Spring says, could you elaborate on how you think the new VF project will be able to grow the VF community? Yeah, personally, I'm very worried. Considering the FGC is still niche, and I would say many are too invested in the fighting game they currently play, sunk cost 100%, to embrace a new game for the long term. There is also a point to be said for new people joining the FGC or any game genre. Why not just play the market leader? There is also a worrying trend in gaming of entitlement to win, which is completely incompatible with VS philosophy of observation and learning. The current gaming industry approach to matchmaking is moving away from skill-based to engagement-based matchmaking, which reinforces an entitlement to win. Also, the content creation infrastructure for VF is not strong enough at the moment. The FGC these days expect in-depth character guides and anti-how-to-beat guides. It's to be expected that at launch everyone will be trying the game, but for the long-term success isn't guaranteed in a saturated market. That's my essay. So those are all amazing points, and I definitely agree with a lot of those points in general. Actually, I agree with pretty much everything. It's just more about what we think about the response to that. So, okay, new VF project. It's new VF project is completely aiming to be a totally new thing. Is it using an existing franchise? Yes, but how would I compare it? I compare it to Monster Hunter World. I compare it to Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 is not the same as Battlefield 2, and it's not the same as Battlefield Bad Company 2, right? Battlefield 3 really went with a more mass market approach. It said, we're going to just be this real big badass game. It's definitely going to be a new engine, and some of the decisions we make about it are strong with our vision of what we think it should be, but it definitely set itself apart from the rest of the Battlefield series, and it did, in a theory, compete with Call of Duty, but that's not exactly what it's doing. It's not directly copying Call of Duty even, only aesthetically, but it was really its own thing, and it was definitely for a new audience, and there's definitely going to be old hardcore audience that was going to feel differently about it, some of them loving it, some of it not loving it. Monster Hunter World was like Capcom actually trying to take all the feedback about why is Monster Hunter not popular outside of Japan? Why is it... What are all these quality of life changes people want us to do, even though our fans say that would no longer be Monster Hunter? And they took a lot of that, and they charted a bold path. They even did that with Wild, but World was very successful at still being this hardcore explorative game, but it was definitely a new entry in the series, and definitely changes what Monster Hunter is since. Virtua Fighter, to me, looks like honestly that it was probably proposed by a new team. It was probably done more by RGG than by quote-unquote AM2. Now that said, interviews sound like they've hired some people from AM2, but I'm under the impression that this is a very new generation product, and it's not even aiming to be... It's aiming to represent what was cool, to use the property of Virtua Fighter, but it really seems like it's its own game. And I think the Legacy VF project does two things. One, it's like a product made for the people that are fans and keeping them engaged, and also to reintroduce and market the new Virtua Fighter. But I also think it allows Virtua Fighter to be a real clean break from the arcade VF. I think the interviews support this. I think the interviews that they've given say that the new VF is aimed at console, is aimed at the home environment, which means console and PC, right? It is aimed at being an entertainment product. One of the, Tekken really envisioned what a console fighting game should be. Namco did all throughout, right? And Sega always treated VF as, this is our core game. This is our arcade game. And so the console game was always going to be kind of secondary to the arcade game, because it had to complement the arcade experience but not replace it, right? And that's been the biggest problems of Virtua Fighter as a console series, as a international game, when Japan arcades are doing well until 2020, but around the world arcades have been dying since before 2000. So I think the new Virtua Fighter is completely fresh and new. It's going to carry certain spirits of what Virtua Fighter is. It's going to deconstruct what it thinks Virtua Fighter is. But it's definitely a new game. And you know what? Every Virtua Fighter game has been pretty different and has had old guard that says they don't like the new game, and then some old guard that love the new game. It's always happened regardless. It'll always happen. And fighting games no different, of course. Fighting games always do that. Every hardcore game does that. Every hardcore game runs through that. People are like that. People are always going to say that the movies that came out when they were 20 are way better than whatever comes out when they're 40. I'm one of those few people that says I like a lot of the new stuff, but I also like the old stuff too. People are like that. So I think the Legacy VF project has accomplished multiple goals. Even if it's not like the biggest commercial goals, they do still line up with the commercial goals for the new Virtua Fighter game. And I do think part of the reason certain narratives have kind of played out the way they do is because it's all anticipation for the new VF game. And I think that's a freedom that Sega has to go ham. RGG Studio has a freedom to go ham with the new VF. I think that is so I think okay. So part 2, let's see. But it's true, yeah. So the thing is people that are currently invested already, this is no offense to any hardcore fan, you've got what you wanted already. And I don't know how much more you're willing to pay for the new stuff. Some of you are, like me. I'm always willing to pay for the new stuff. I'm always willing to keep investing in the new stuff. I've done that throughout. But I have grown up, even in the VF community, always being a nice community. But it is every time there has been people, Old Jeff did not play Final Showdown. They didn't like that Final Showdown was so different from VF5 Vanilla. But they are back. They came back during Ultimate Showdown. And they started to appreciate what Ultimate Showdown is for itself. But to them, Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla was the game that set their expectation of what VF is. Because they came from Tekken, and then they played VF5 Vanilla, and they really liked it. And in China, and in France, and in other countries, a lot of players told me that's what Virtua Fighter 4 EVO did for them. Right? And in China, Virtua Fighter 4 Final Tune is what did it for them. Right? They came from Tekken, then they played 4 Final Tune, and were just like, they saw the light. And forever, that is their favorite Virtua Fighter game. But a lot of them still do love Final Showdown. But there's also the 3 legends in China, long retired because we're no longer in 4 Final Tune. And that just happens. The changing of generations will happen, regardless. Doesn't matter what the developer does. There's going to be people that like it more, people like it less, and people that hate it. So retention is a tricky thing. The new Virtua Fighter is completely acquisition. It is completely trying to get as many people as it can, no matter their background. And it's trying to use the success of RGG Studios and the Yakuza series to do that. And it is very much an RGG product. It is totally an RGG product. It is not really an AM2 project at all. I don't see it that way. I do see it as inspired by AM2. It's not AM2. And I'm excited for it. But I also think some of my friends are going to be like, man, let's go back to playing Final Showdown, and I'll play that with them. But I think this is totally going to be an RGG product. And I think that's a good thing, but it also might be a change to what fighting games are. It might not be fighting games that we know of anymore. And maybe, if it's successful enough, it changes fighting games forever, for better or worse. Or maybe it goes back to it. We'll see. But I have the feeling it's going on the path of changing the whole genre, and just basically saying we don't need to be legacy VF. We have legacy VF. But you know what? Those old guys have always been saying that if we released a collection, they'd do it. But then when we put it on PlayStation, they said they won't buy it. You know? So I'm like, I'm also of the opinion of, you know what? Screw the old guys. Like, they can be on board or not. Make the best product you can. And I honestly think they're trying to make the best product they can with the new Virtua Fighter. I think they've de-shackled. I think they've broken away from the logic of this has to be what VF was. This has to be an arcade game. And I'm okay with that. And I'm hoping Legacy VF allows them to keep pleasing people like me too. But there's probably a limit to that expectation. But I do think this game is amazing. I think Final Showdown is my favorite Virtua Fighter. I think Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle, Virtua Fighter 4 EVO, 4 Final Tune, super amazing. And I'm glad that we have ways to play those with Rollback. So, RGG Studio is completely free to make the best game that they can as they envision it, and we'll see who loves it and who doesn't. But I think I'm happy that Sega is willing to make that gamble. I'm really happy that Sega is swinging for the fences, I hope, with the new Virtua Fighter, and that it completely changes things going forward. That's what I hope. Why not just play the market leader? There's also a worrying trend in game. So, the hard part about success, you see this in products a lot, right? Look at Disney, and I've done the Disney lecture a lot. Look at Nike, right? Disney is a market leader, but they slipped. They slipped when Bob Iger retired, and they had Bob Chapek for a while. And Bob Chapek is a money guy. He wanted to harvest the existing success. He doesn't know how to create new content. He put money people in charge of their departments. Now, I know that a lot of people are definitely jaded with Disney. I get that, and you're not wrong. But there is a lot of resources poured into the Imagineering teams, and they do want to make a good product within what they think their values are. Okay, so, but Bob Chapek just put money people in charge, and it was noticeable how the theme parks, the films, everything, the streaming strategies were just not working out because of a variety of factors, but ultimately the quality of the experience was lowering. They were not creating the value, they were trying to harvest the reputation. They were trying to harvest existing success. They're like, we're the leader, we just keep being the leader. Nike did a similar thing, right? Nike, during COVID, said, you know what? People are now online, and retail's going more online, and we should be the one getting the money going online. So they cut off a lot of retail partners. They also said, we're great, we're so great, we can do everything. So they, instead of focusing on what they're super best at, they tried to be, good at everything. And this created, like, this spreads the brand out thin. This spreads the identity. People they no longer have a strong attachment about what Nike really completely is the best at. They just know the reputation. So you're harvesting the reputation, you're harvesting success, but the value creation is not the same. The marketing coherency is not the same. And then you're burning your retail partners so that when people do want to retail, but retail experience gives you the experience, it gets you in touch. So a lot of other up-and-coming shoe companies started to make their brand stand out by what they represented, and while the Nike brand got diluted. It's easy to look at it in retrospect, but it happens a lot. Value creation is a really important part, and good accounting is important, because without good accounting, you're going to do some really bad business, and then the business could die just from that. But that's a survival. Those are survival tools. Those are not winning strategies. Winning strategies is in the acquisition. Winning strategy is, what are we about? How do we create value? What makes us worth it? What makes us great? Not we're great because we're great, right? When you look at it just as the money, we're great because we're great. Right now we've had to look at like people who we look at conglomerates who buy up properties and who buy up businesses, buy up clinics, buy up whatever, you know, and they think they're great because of their portfolio. But they didn't know how to create that value. They weren't part of the ones who created that value. And so something gets lost when you leave it up to just the portfolio. When you go like the portfolio speaks for itself, it's a real ignorant way. And a lot of times you'll see businesses fall. Because when it's that way, well, the skill for portfolio management is to buy up and to sell. And it is, and if you got a valuable property, you sell it for more. It's not to create value. It's to create value for yourself on profit. But it's not to create the value of like what that portfolio piece really was, you know? And so now we're seeing a lot of studios being thrown out like trash because of portfolio management, you know? And portfolio management has gotten more geopolitical because, you know, we're now in this era where it's like, okay, maybe we don't want, you know, the Chinese government might say, hey, these Chinese companies that are investing in stuff, I don't know the real reasons, but they could be saying stuff like, we would like it if you were benefiting the Chinese developers. Okay, change in plans. Another country says, you know what, we don't like our trade relations, so we're going to start taxing on services, or we're going to start thinking of different stuff and services. But the value creation is the most important part. The harvesting of a reputation, there's good success there, but it's a portfolio management skill, but it's not a value creation skill. I think the new Virtua Fighter completely is going on value creation. They're trying to make something new and awesome. So I'm excited for it. Anyways, that's a big tangent. I hope that made some sense. I know I went off the rails there. But I'll probably have to talk more about gaming industry stuff a little later. But there's a lot of interesting talks about that. Also, the content creation infrastructure for VF is not strong. Well, let's not judge. Okay, I want you to think about this. REVO is probably made on a team of like less than 10 people. I'm not lying. It probably is. It's probably its credits. It's probably crediting people that are due credits for Final Showdown and Ultimate Showdown. But just imagine it's a really small team that's working on REVO. Okay, that's not the same resources as the new Virtua Fighter game. Totally different team. Totally different group. The new Virtua Fighter team is using part of RGG Studios. It's using overlap with them. And it's using some people that are doing REVO as well. But it's a totally different team and a totally different investment and a totally different expectation. They're not expecting REVO to be really huge because you know what? Legacy games have limited success. You can't expect King of Fighters 13 being re-released to be like knockout like the first time King of Fighters 13 came out. Fans want to think that their greatest game coming out again is going to repeat success. It never works out that way. That's not the narrative. And you just have to watch the live streamers like Max or even Rufamonger and look at the narrative that they're saying. And their narrative with REVO is different from their narrative with Ultimate Showdown, right? Their narrative with REVO is that this is the 7th version of Virtua Fighter 5. They kept saying that. I'm like, I wish they wouldn't, because that does lower the sales of the game, or it limits because certain people that were considering it now go, well, I'm just going to wait for the new Virtua Fighter. That's what a lot of people are doing. So REVO is made for a more hardcore audience. And I think it is successful with that new hardcore audience. We are seeing so many players that are really good at fighting games playing this game now and are applying it. Like we've gotten so much better at teaching it. And so the level of play that's active right now from random opponents is so much better. It really is. Than even 4 years ago. And Ultimate Showdown, it was better than even when Final Showdown came out. That's exciting. That is exciting for where fighting games are, but it is a matured demographic. It's a demographic where it is due for a refresh. And I'm hoping that the new Virtua Fighter refreshes it. If you keep marketing to the same people, it is less and less. Retention is a really important strategy. I'm all about retention myself when it comes to operations, but you have to understand what it's for. Retention is really important, but acquisition, every generation is a new time for acquisition, getting new people. And so arcade fighters, if you only do retention on arcade fighters, that's such a losing strategy. There is no real payoff for that. The only real way to get payoff for that is to just re-release an old game. And what do? They're re-releasing old games. And what do? We complain about it and we say we wish they would do a new game. But then we tell them we want the new game to be like the old game, because we want it catered to us. But it's got to be catered to a whole new generation. It's got to totally make waves in a new generation if it wants to warrant any kind of investment. But it's a tough time. Yeah. Anyways, hope that there's so much more I want to say, but I hope that will be satisfactory for today, Spring, and I hope you enjoyed that.
Round 5. Ready, go!
No, Reaper, you're a very considerate person too, and I love the way that I haven't seen how you teach, but I do love the way that you communicate VF, and I do like the way you fight. Considering what we've seen of the alpha footage, I'm positive current VF players will like. Yeah, totally, 100%. Here's the thing too. When it comes to new VF, we're all gonna buy it. Like almost all of us are gonna buy it. I don't see many of us not buying it. Even if we don't like it, a lot of us are gonna actually buy it. But what's more important, many more people will buy it. So even if we don't buy it, there's gonna be a lot of people that buy the new VF. Let's hope it's really successful. I do not wish for any fighting game to be a failure right now. I really don't. But I really expect the new VF to really be a big hit. Yeah, Zendo, I agree with what you're saying though about engagement and what that means and how that works into the business model. I'll talk about it another time, but I definitely think that engagement is a big factor. Now, engagement is the retention strategy. Engagement, the spectacle is the acquisition, but the engagement is retention. And it is good to have. You want that especially if there's an ongoing revenue stream, then then engagement is like the most important thing, right? Right now, there's a whole debate with investors about Grand Theft Auto 6. Why? Because Grand Theft Auto Online is doing so well that everyone's like, who wants to ruin the success of Grand Theft Auto Online? But we'll see. So when people look at Grand Theft Auto 6 as maybe getting in the way of Grand Theft Auto Online, we've got an interesting dilemma for people that invest money in the studio or in the publisher. But I do hope they go hard on the quality of life stuff, 100%. I do think VF is seen as sort of a lifestyle brand of fighting game, and I think a future VF will carry that, but we will see. Yeah. Well, Reaper, I will say about the NVIDIA demo, that was just a proof of concept. So that was to illustrate what it could be and what direction they're going in. But I do think it is going to change fighters, yeah. But I do think most people are excited with what they saw, including that one. And that one was definitely made clear that was even before the footage of that was a build that was like pretty much at the pitch meeting. And so that was a mock-up that was created very quickly. Yeah, tech demo. I think it was good that they released it after the alpha footage, but it's also true that it's still going to create confusion no matter what order they release it. So.
Round 5. Ready, go!
I definitely think the new VF6 is going to diverge from VF, but I think it's going to be awesome. I'm open-minded, but I definitely think it's going to be different, and I definitely think I'm still going to be playing this game also, in addition to that. Yeah, no, Reaper and I think I agree with both Panda and Reaper, even though they're saying different aspects of this. Like, it sounds like a disagreement, but it's a very good discussion, and we're gonna see what happens. But yeah. But I am curious how it's going to be. Like I said, I think combos are going to change. But I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think they're still combos. Just presented a little differently and maybe more exciting. But the variable blocking, like at the level that it's at, is looking awesome. Destructible environment definitely going to happen. Yeah.
Round one. Ready, go!
No, bowing exactly is. I think you saw in the Discord that I talked about bowing as well. That the culture changed after they acquired McDonnell Douglas. But the funny thing is, when they acquired McDonnell Douglas, they put McDonnell Douglas people in charge of bowing. It totally changed the culture. It's like, what? It's like, who acquired who, right? But you know, who got the payout? That's usually the answer. So, hey, Oof, good to see you.
Round two. Ready,
Yeah, I love the discussion in chat too. Thank you very much. I'm glad that my detailed thoughts helped. Hey, Vixtra, the VF goes great. Though I am gonna get to work now. Chad the Third, awesome. You think VF6 will stray from the core formula? I think it will be very inspired by Virtua Fighter. I think it's free to charge its own path. I think there's gonna be foundational things that are similar. So, do I think a VF player is gonna play the new VF really well? They will definitely on the first month, and then after that we'll see where it goes. But I think that's awesome. That's exciting. I think it takes a lot to be a VF player, including adaptability. So we're going to adapt to the new VF. But so is a lot of other people. And I think this game is helping people appreciate. Look, I do think it's going to carry a lot of important concepts that make Virtua Fighter Virtua Fighter. I 100% believe that. So I think the decision making, the guessing, the speed of it, that's going to be there. That's what we want. And that's still going to be there. The rollback netcode, the focus on gamepads, that is going to change like the level of control. It might change like how we do it, but it doesn't have to change it in such a horrible way. It's still going to be great. I do think arcade controllers are still going to be better because they're just better input devices, you know. But I do think the game's going to be more friendly to pad and designed around the pad, and that's okay, right? Even in this hardcore game, the input buffer, like, it does a good job of interpreting what you meant to do on a Sanwa lever, even when your Sanwa lever accidentally inputted extra directions that you might not have intended, but the game is designed to interpret it to be like what you probably intended. I think, you know, they're just doing that for pad, and we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be amazing. I love that it looks like they're going to... I think when they say stuff like new character name, Stella, and the thematic elements, I do think they're showing that this game is going to have a story element, and that it is going to be a focus. Not like it's going to be the biggest focus, but it's going to be a big enough focus that they know everybody talks lightly about the lore of Virtua Fighter, or that they say it's not as sexy. They're trying to make this sexy. And honestly, I'm sure that they've hired a lot of people to help with that. They're really showing stylistic side. Now, VF4 showed style too, but I think they're really showing, like, I think Virtua Fighter 5 showed polish, and Virtua Fighter 4 showed style. I think we're going to see style and polish in the new Virtua Fighter. Well, Chad knows that I don't mind repeating myself, but I am going to drink water. I am going to clean myself up and go to work. But I had a great time with all of you. And Chad, always great to see you. I'm really glad you were able to make it here at this time. So, awesome. Kung Fu Smurf and Radical Reactor. I've seen these two fight quite a bit on here, so I think they fight directly against each other. They're from opposite sides of the country, but I've enjoyed fighting both of them in person. And I really like fighting these guys. Radical Reactor is a really good Vanessa sparring partner. They have a unique Vanessa, and they make really good adjustments. So I think they're definitely somebody that like people should add on their friends list. Kung Fu Smurf, they want to make. I know that they're sensitive connection, so if the connection's good, they love fighting you. But if the connection's not as good, I think that they're the type of person who does not enjoy online when it's not feeling like offline. But yeah, all right. Let's start the rating process. Thank you all very much for joining me this morning. This was so much fun. I should be really silly here, actually. I do want to look at my numbers because it's a fun activity to do while we can, and then we just don't anymore, right? So we're almost like, look, we're at half of the playtime that I was at before my save game got erased by my January save. So, you know, I was at like around 60 or 70. So now I'm back to 25. That's good. Total matches 233. I think I was like at 3 something. Yeah, so here we are. And then right there. This is where our Leon's at, because that's all we played. We actually played a little bit of Lao in our old save. Alright, Temple. We could be doing better on Temple. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's do the raid when we can. Okay, so here's the deal. Sayaka is no longer streaming, so... Natsu the Wolf is. Hey, everybody, I want you to say hi to Natsu the Wolf. They speak both English, they speak French, and they are an amazing community member. So let's really give it to them. They're a strong player. They've got quite a wit. Everybody that's a wolf player is a very interesting type of person. Everyone who's a wolf player is a real smartass. I'm just gonna tell you that. And they're the best kind, but they are. And so, you know, it's always I've met wolf players all around the world, China too. They're almost always very similar. There's certain traits to a wolf player, to a dedicated wolf player. They're almost always some type of there's some form of alpha or another, and it's pretty interesting. But they're also really fun, and they make communities great. So here we go. Let's start the raid. She is still playing, but it's okay. We're gonna do Natsu the Wolf. Alright, everybody, say hi to Natsu for me. Thank you all for your support, and cheers.
Round 3.